Okay, hello everyone. My name is Laquan Williams, and in this video, I will be discussing the topic and going over the review of the latest Flash episode, which is season 7, episode 3, which aired a couple of days ago on Tuesday. And where I wanted to talk about was obviously what happened with the Mirrorverse, and obviously them playing games against the Mirror Master, trying to trick her. A different Mirror Master than what they had in the previous seasons, which was a guy. This was a woman, Eva. So what they tried to do in Team Flash was basically, obviously, try to overpower her. They couldn't. So the plan was to outsmart her and use their abilities and obviously their brains together to overpower her and outthink her. The last episode of episode 2, season 7, saw Barry Allen finally get his wife Iris West out of the Mirrorverse. Obviously, the people that were still there was his former captain, Captain Singh of the police force over in Central City, and obviously Allegra, who is Camilla Chan, which is Cisco's girlfriend, who works at with Iris for her newspaper. So she was still there. They got them back towards the end of this episode, but they're still stuck there. So in the Mirrorverse, so they were trying to get them out. Iris West was out, but she obviously was feeling the effects of it because Barry pulled her out in kind of a freak accident type of way, an ordeal. So that's what happened, and they tried to fight. They did fight her. Barry lost his speed. Then he got his speed back, not with the artificial speed force, but obviously with him and Iris being together and him being the paragon of love. That apparently helped him get his speed back, so we saw that happen. It's very interesting to see that take place, but obviously we'll see what happens in the future because Barry loses his speed and he gets it back again. That continues to happen to be the case, but the Mirror Master had her Mirrorverse copies / what he for herself, which she called her children in this episode. They were destroying the city, attacking people, destroying buildings and whatnot. Attacking the police at the police station in Central City. Joe West and Cecile had to try to take coverage or refuge in one of his office and one of the back rooms, and close the door because they were trying to escape from one of the mirror copies. So that's what's been happening. Literally, it felt like kind of like they said an alien invasion and whatnot. We saw that take place. Sue Dearborn and obviously Elongated Man made an appearance in the episode. I don't know if they're going to be back in the future, but we'll see what happens with that. It was fun. It was very interesting. But what I didn't understand is why did they let Eva stay around? And they're saying that she's basically done. She's being not the bad guy anymore. She's going to go back to Mirrorverse, stay there, and rebuild that. She's not going to come back through it and try to mess with everybody in Central City on Earth and whatnot. I don't believe her. She's obviously very bad, evil, and corrupt, but we'll see what happens with that. Barry and basically Barry, but obviously it was Iris West who convinced her that she did not need to destroy the whole city, and she was not making it better, she was making it worse. So that's what happened. We saw another Harrison Wells come back, but this time it was the original Harrison Wells, and then he came to help the Central City Star Labs team try to help Barry get his speed back, but he said that he was not going to stay around. He left at the end. We know that's not going to be the case. There'll be more of him back, and there's always going to be Harrison Wells or an Ash Wells in some type of form back in the episodes and whatnot. We saw obviously, but they all left obviously in the last episode when they all got transferred with their intellect and their life force energy into artificial speed force in order for it to be powered up, so that Barry can actually get his speed back. And they all sacrificed themselves in order to do that. So we'll see what happens with that in the next episode. Season 4, episode 4 is going to happen in a couple of weeks. It's going to see the return of the villain Abracadabra, the magician and illusionist. He's obviously very bad and very smart, very cunning. So we'll see what happens with that. That episode is going to be on the 23rd in a couple days, and this is what the synopsis says. Abracadabra returns. The Flash must deal with Abracadabra's sudden return to Central City. The villain is back with a vengeance and a score to settle. Meanwhile, Allegra deals with a tricky situation, and Caitlin suspects something is off with Frost. Iris is forced to also look at a dark moment in her past. So we'll see what happens with that. It'll be very interesting to see what happens with that. The Mirrorverse, and obviously what's going to happen in the future. With this season being delayed, and obviously they're having to switch stuff around and put the season finale of the first episode for the past season with stuff being delayed, obviously with this whole current pandemic, obviously, and precautions that they've taken and stuff. But we'll see what happens with that. it's just kind of weird. Like I said, Eva's not gonna be around, but the mirror, obviously, the Mirrorverse is gone. She's gonna be back. I don't know if they're gonna have what other villains will be back, obviously, as far as that goes. But I think Reverse Flash will obviously be back with Thawne coming back in some type of capacity. I don't know what other villains will be back. Obviously, like I said, Abracadabra is there. Black Hole is still around, obviously to a certain degree. I don't know who's running it, but they're around to a certain degree. Sue Dearborn and Elongated Man came back and they stated that they're going to take them down no matter what they can do. Abaddon is still around to a certain degree, so we'll see what other villains will be popping up. Obviously, and like I said, obviously Abracadabra is going to be back in the next week's episode. So it was very fun, very entertaining. Like I said, it's been very cool to see obviously the differences and what's been taking place. It's unfortunate that we don't have obviously Wally West and obviously other characters from the past that won't be coming back. Obviously like Firestorm and whatnot. So we'll see what happens obviously with that. Yeah, it'll be very interesting. So it's been fun. It's just like I said, kind of weird when the characters leave and come back and then, you know, people get their powers and they don't have it. I'm hoping Cisco obviously could get his back as far as vibe goes. They showed it this week when he was back in his old gear, but he's obviously using technology to keep himself to appear to have his powers. But see, that was the issue. His the blasters that he had on his hands messing up on him because he can still use his powers to a certain degree. And obviously, he'd be much more stronger now if you still would have had them. He gave them up, obviously, to be with, obviously, have a normal life with his girlfriend Camilla, but obviously her being gone in the Mirrorverse for so many years, for months, didn't mean anything because he didn't have his powers. He had to go to Atlantis to find a way to help Barry to get everybody back and get get the Speed Force obviously up and running again with a way to find the artificial Speed Force and to get some type of ordeal happening with that. It's been very interesting to see how that's been taking place. It's just obviously weird, but we'll see what happens with that. I know a lot of people are saying it logically didn't make sense for them to have Barry get his powers back because him and Iris had a connection and because he's the paragon of love, so that means obviously their love can conquer all and he'll get his speed back, but I'm like, he gets his speed taken away from him, he gets his speed back, he keeps losing it, so we'll see what happens with that. It's just very unfortunate that seems to be the case, but the artificial Speed Force is gone, but I don't know if they're going to fix it in some type of way. What's going to happen with the new Harrison Wells coming back in some type of capacity. This one that came back just is able to appear and disappear whenever he wants, kind of like a magician, similar to, I guess you could say, Abracadabra. I don't know what happens with that, or, like the Trickster. We'll see what happens with that. I don't know, but it'll be very interesting. But, like I said, more villains to come. It was delayed. I'm glad that the Flash is here now, so we'll see what happens with that. It's basically it. I'm hoping more crossovers do happen and have one hopefully this summer, maybe the fall, with the Team Flash obviously teaming up with obviously the DC Legends of Tomorrow, Black Lightning, his family, and obviously the Superman Lois last thing. Yeah, so we'll see what happens with that. It'll be interesting to see what happens. It takes place with that, and I don't know if Wally West will be back. So hopefully in the near future, obviously, Kid Flash is back, but it depends. Sometimes people leave the show and they don't come back, but maybe crossovers happen and we see people come back. So you never know. I just wanted to see that them actually trap Eva in some type of universe where she couldn't get out. Her having the ability to walk away, go into the Mirrorverse, go back there, and just to be on her merry way was not cool. She's too evil and powerful and too devious. She'll be back in some type of capacity. I'll be very, very surprised if she does not come back. And if she doesn't come back, if she does and she helps them in some type of way with another villain, I'll be very surprised. That might be the case, but if she is not taken out and literally like thrown in another dimension where she can't hurt people, like seriously, like because she's obviously very evil, but like she wanted to destroy the city for crying out loud. But we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, you can't just like come on. You think the Flash would let Team Flash be like, oh yeah, Zoom or Thawne, you could just walk away. It's okay. We know you're not gonna hurt anybody else, or Killer Croc or Grodd, the gorilla, when obviously before he became good. You think they're just gonna let them walk away and it's okay, we trust you? No, you can't trust them again. So obviously we'll see what happens with that. And Black Hole is still around to a certain degree, and what will happen with Elongated Man and Sue Dearborn, how they're going to come back into the picture now that they're back. Obviously we know the actor that plays Elongated Man was fired from the show. He's not coming back at all. They had an excuse for to bring him around, keep him around, is that he has a helmet on his head. He sounds like obviously a robot because his face was burnt. They had the character introduced with Sue Dearborn. His face was burnt half off, so obviously the actor playing him is no longer going to be on the show. They can still have Elongated Man around, but just somebody else play him. But obviously, you won't see the face ever because he's not the same guy. The actor was fired from what he said on Twitter years ago. Old tweets of what he said resurfaced, and he got fired from the show. So we'll see what happens with that if they decide to keep the character around. Obviously, the same person is not going to be playing him, but he's going to have a helmet on the whole time. So we'll see what happens with that. Yeah, and that's basically what I have to say about that, and what will take place, obviously, with the Reverse Flash, with Thawne coming back, and obviously, if Mirror Master is going to be a problem in the future, or they're going to, or she's going to be a solution, and obviously an ally, and they're going to help. She's going to help them in some type of way, help Team Flash, obviously save the city or take some other bad guy down. I really don't know, or if they're going to look for her to help to take down somebody. Maybe another planet, obviously, because they have crossovers and whatnot, and we'll see what happens with that. Other people come on from different worlds and different forms of people, doppelgangers and whatnot. We'll see what happens. It's been very interesting. We'll just see what happens. What's been happening with the Flash, obviously, in the show in this past season. So we'll see what happens with that. This is on CarterMad.com. I watch his videos on YouTube from every now and then. This is what he's been putting out for the preview for the next episode for obviously is the Flash, which will happen next week, season 7, episode 4, which we'll see the return of Abracadabra. Mirror Master's done. We don't know if she's gonna be, obviously we're back, but we'll see what happens with that. Abruptly ending like that, it's just weird. But like I said, when the Flash TV show was delayed, they had to switch some stuff around. So we'll see what happens with that, obviously. But thank you again for watching. That's all I have to say about this in regards to the Flash season 7, episode 4 preview, and obviously the review of episode 3 that just happened on Tuesday, a couple days ago. We'll see what happens. I don't know what's going to be the case, obviously, for the near future with crossovers and whatnot. Questions I have to ask. Will Cisco get his powers back? As Vibe, will Iris West be able to use the Mirrorverse powers to help the team in some type of way now that Eva's gone? I don't know. We'll see, because that was obviously some type of residual effects, obviously, or damage, obviously, caused by her being there for so long. I don't know if that's going to be the case, and she's obviously going to be able to use those powers in the future. We'll see, obviously, and we don't know what's going to happen if Barry Allen's daughter might still come back in some type of capacity in some way. If they can bring her back, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Obviously, Dawn has died and come back so many times, Reverse Flash, so we'll see what happens with that. So, and, people die and come back all the time because they're superhero shows, and they use magic and time traveling and all types of science and magic to bring people back to life, obviously. So we will see what happens with that. Yeah, that's all I have to say about this in regards to the Flash season 7, episode 4, and obviously preview and the review of episode 3. I thought it was fun. It was so, like I said, it was a little weird how the Mirror Master was done. Obviously, like I said, delays her at the show. Hopefully she's back still in some type of capacity. It just kind of felt weird, but it was still cool to see that take place. And Barry go up against her and her dozens of copies that she had throughout the city. So let me know what you have to think about that. And obviously, if you're watching it, if you need to catch up on the show, what do you think about the upcoming crossovers that they might have? And we'll see what happens, obviously, with other characters coming back. Thank you again for watching. That's all I have to say about this. And let me know if you have any questions. Thanks again for watching. Bye.